She looked at Harry and she's like, you need to get a job. You need a job.
I watched the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary. Now, I'll be honest with you, before I watched it, I was not a fan of theirs. Now I've actually heard their side of the story, I f***ing hate them.
Meghan Markle just crossed a line no one thought she would. On July 1st, what would have been Princess Diana's 64th birthday, Meghan dropped a new product from her lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard. But it wasn't just a product. It was a pink rosé, wrapped in curated aesthetics and emotional PR spin, pushed as a tribute to the late princess. The problem? It didn't feel like a tribute. It felt like a stunt. And the internet exploded. What was supposed to be a soft, meaningful nod to her late mother-in-law quickly unraveled into one of the most criticized branding moments of Meghan's career.
You a grown-ass man. You can't still be living in your mama's house, Harry.
What is she talking about? What is that all about? Flower sprinkles? They're not going to sell out unless you're only selling 7 sprinkles.
Critics weren't just unimpressed. They were furious. Even supporters found themselves choking on the rosé. This wasn't a loving gesture. This was a business move. And the date chosen for it made that painfully obvious. The wine launch wasn't subtle. It was strategic. A sun-drenched image of a blush pink bottle. Carefully styled photos of Meghan in designer whites, lounging near a pool. A press release fed straight to Hello Magazine, her go-to platform for puff pieces and pre-approved PR.
If you haven't seen the documentary, lucky you.
Fantasy. I think she's lost in her own world.
The language was predictable, heartfelt, authentic, meaningful. But the public wasn't buying it. Not this time. Because while Meghan claimed it was a tribute, many saw something far more calculated. A commercial rollout disguised as a eulogy. And when you tie that to the most emotionally charged date on the royal calendar, Diana's birthday, you're not just selling wine, you're selling sentiment. And people noticed. Loudly. Within hours, royal commentators were labeling the move twisted, vile, even disgusting. Social media lit up in outrage. She never even met Diana, one user snapped. Another called it emotional blackmail wrapped in pastel branding.
Ginger Royal meets fit American actress. She then discovers that everything is so unfair.
And then came the deeper questions. Was this just another Meghan PR misfire? Or was something even more troubling going on behind the scenes? Because while Meghan posed with Rosé, one figure remained conspicuously silent. Prince Harry. Where was Harry? The man who once declared he would never allow his mother's legacy to be exploited by the press. The man who, alongside Prince William, promised to protect Diana's memory. The man who spent the better part of a decade railing against the commodification of her name. And yet, here he was, or rather wasn't, nowhere in sight, while his wife rolled out a new product on the very day his mother was born. Was he steamrolled by Meghan? Was he complicit? Or was this his silent protest? Insiders say Harry didn't participate in the launch, not publicly, not privately. And that absence, for many, was deafening. Because if anyone should have slammed the brakes on this launch, it was him. Instead, he said nothing. And maybe that's the most disturbing part. Because this isn't a one-off. It's part of a larger pattern that critics have been pointing out for years.
He then discovers that racism is actually a bad thing.
This is huge. Harry and Meghan are leaving the palace to become financially independent.
Meghan's obsession with royal imagery. Her frequent use of Diana's name. Her uncanny habit of mirroring everything from Kate Middleton's wardrobe to Charlotte's accessories. Most recently, her daughter Lilibet appeared with a rainbow jelly handbag, the exact same one Charlotte carried in 2015. Coincidence? Critics say no. Some call it tribute. Others call it mimicry. But increasingly, the word that's being used is identity theft. And it doesn't stop at fashion. Meghan has invoked Diana's spirit in podcast episodes, in interviews, and even reportedly told friends that she felt Diana's presence during yoga. She's described Diana as her guide, her protector, her emotional compass, all while never having met her. And now, with Harry's silence, many wonder if this connection has become less about admiration and more about control. Is Meghan using Diana's legacy as emotional leverage? As a tool to keep Harry compliant?
And you see, this is what happens when you bring the first black woman into the royal family. Yeah.
Some royal insiders are saying exactly that. They claim Harry is no longer the fiery, passionate royal he once was. He's not leading, he's following, not speaking, just nodding. The brand Meghan built, it's starting to crack. Despite the hype, the wine drop was met with serious skepticism. Yes, it sold out, but not in the way people think. It was classic scarcity marketing. Create a tiny batch, build buzz, and let the media scream about the demand. Insiders allege the inventory was laughably small. One source claimed fewer than 100 bottles were made. Another compared it to the infamous jam drop, where Meghan's homemade preserves sold out, only because there were fewer than 50 jars. Critics aren't impressed. She's not selling out, she's just not stocking, one marketing analyst said. It's not a sellout, it's a setup. And the cracks are showing elsewhere, too. Royal biographer Angela Levin didn't hold back. She called the wine launch a violation, a betrayal of everything Diana stood for. She reminded the world of Harry and William's original agreement, that their mother's memory would never be used for commercial purposes. Diana, they said, was sacred, off limits. And now, Diana's name is being used to sell blush wine on Instagram. If that doesn't feel like a slap in the face to William, it's hard to imagine what would. Prince William's response has been dignified. He hasn't spoken publicly, he rarely does. That's part of what makes his approach so respected. He honors Diana quietly, through charitable work, through private remembrance. No flashy photo shoots, no product launches, no performative grief. But sources say he wasn't amused. In fact, behind palace walls, the mood was reportedly furious. To him, Meghan's move wasn't just tacky, it was cruel.
And then they complain about everything.
Who is guiding this man from this vicious woman? Because she is vicious. You know, it's all about her. She'll do whatever she can to get what she wants. And Harry, you know, whatever.
A hijacking of a sacred day for the sake of clout. And all of this points to a deeper issue. Meghan's brand is built on royal residue. Despite leaving the monarchy, she's never really left. Every project, every photo, every headline circles back to her royal past. From the Netflix docuseries to podcast episodes to that infamous Oprah interview, it all leans heavily on palace drama, royal titles, and of course Diana. Critics are calling it what it is: royal repackaging. Not entrepreneurship, not empowerment. A brand born from borrowed royalty, with Diana as the crown jewel. And now, the public is exhausted. What once felt like an empowering break from tradition now feels like a calculated business model. Meghan's projects are short-lived. Hype, launch, disappear. The dabbling Duchess, as some have dubbed her, jumps from idea to idea, from jam to wine to lifestyle newsletters. But nothing sticks. Nothing feels real. And behind it all, one ghost keeps appearing. Diana. Which brings us back to Harry. Once the most beloved royal rebel, Harry now appears more like a shadow. The sparkle in his eye is dimmed. The fire in his belly? Gone. Friends say he looks lost. Fans say he looks hollow. And therapists watching from afar have raised concerns about his mental health.
Meghan's business model is just useless. It's useless.
His silence, his compliance, his fading presence. The man who once shouted from rooftops to protect his mother's memory is now watching that memory become a business plan and doing nothing. And maybe that's the tragedy, because this wasn't just about a wine launch. This was about memory, grief, and the weaponization of both. Meghan didn't just launch a product. She launched a controversy, one rooted in calculated timing, emotional manipulation, and, according to many, exploitation. She didn't honor Diana. She hijacked her. And the public noticed. In the end, what could have been a moment of grace became a spectacle. On a day that should have been about quiet remembrance, Meghan popped a bottle, posed for the camera, and tried to pass it off as homage. But the world isn't buying it anymore. The veil has lifted. The pattern is clear. Meghan Markle isn't redefining royalty. She's recycling it. One photo op, one curated caption, one Diana reference at a time. And with each move, the brand doesn't grow stronger. It grows thinner, brittle, transparent. And the question everyone's now asking is simple. How far is she willing to go? Because if Diana's memory can be turned into a sales pitch, what's next? Let us know what you think in the comments below.